Hey, what's up? It's Adrian from ProductionCrate.com.
And I am Chris Kelly. Today we're going to show you how we used Blender, After Effects, Element 3D, and tons of knowledge from past Production Crate tutorials to turn Adrian into the Scarlet Witch.
That's right. Creating the levitation effect is actually pretty simple, but also very effective. It's just a combination of two shots, okay? It's one with me doing some pretty good acting to get my upper body, and then this other one where I'm hanging from overhead to get my legs, and they're just stitched together at the waist using some very simple roto. If you want a more detailed explanation, we already have a whole video on the effects, so go check that out. I like knowing stuff. Can you tell me? Is it a secret?
Now, Adrian is a very blinky dude.
I am.
This guy's always blinking.
You know what? I got yelled at the optometrist. It's not a joke. It's just a true thing that happened.
For our glowing eyes effect, this is a problematic situation, not only because it would mean more roto, but also because it would kind of cheapen this shot. It seems less serious when your all-powerful witch can't even keep their dang eyes open.
I'm sorry.
We actually got rid of the blinks using content-aware fill. It sounds like a wild idea, but it actually totally worked.
And then we can go ahead and track those in Mocha. I'm going to use that tracking data to place a simple white solid with a pupil-shaped mask over each eye, and we're going to add some feather and some glow, and boom, you've got very simple, easy, glowing eyes.
Another good trick is to put some After Effects lights in there and apply a CC glass effect to the footage, and we can use that to get some tiny little highlights around the face. Usually, we always recommend using practical lights wherever possible, but for something like this, where the lights would be very small and have to be stuck on your eyeballs, we think that doing it digitally might just be a better situation, but just this once. Practical is usually the way to go.
For all the magical energy around my hands, we used a variety of stuff from Footage Crate. Our Magic and Powers library is extensive. There's tons of stuff to choose from, so we do recommend that you come up with your own unique look. But if you want something that's similar to ours, we used one of the looping Sorcerer Fireballs. We used some of the looping Falling Mist
Classics.
of the Mist Wisps collection. And we used one of these Afterburner clips turned on its side to point down. Now, we actually do have a lot of specialty fire clips in our torch section that wouldn't usually be useful for an ordinary fire scene or effect, but they can easily be tweaked for cool sci-fi or magic effects. Or should I say warm? Because did I say cool earlier?
Oh, that's a good, funny, original joke.
Yeah.
The environment was made inside of Element 3D. We just used one of our debris piles and one of the real photo-scanned Baja Cresta rocks. That's actually what they are. It's a good name. We actually still have these rocks in our office and we use them all the time.
We do. They come in handy more often than you'd think.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, so the balls of trash that I'm using to threaten Thanos are also made using some of our debris piles, but with some tweaks. So we're going to go ahead and download that. Since we have the Crate Connect browser extension, it's going to automatically be organized into a folder that makes sense. But we do need to unzip it though.
Now let's open up a Blender and Thanos snap away the default cube. Then we can import the debris model. We'll switch to edit mode and use the lasso. No, not that one. Yes, that's the one. Use that to select all of the extra little pebbles and rocks along the edges. We don't really need these for what we're doing here, but they're also not a huge problem. So if you don't get them all, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. All right, so we're gonna hit Control+ on the keyboard a few times to select all of the connected polygons and delete the vertices. You can see here that we did accidentally get some of the main mesh as well. You could try to be careful and not do that, but to be honest, it really doesn't matter.
Let's go back into object mode and apply a simple deform modifier. We're gonna change the type to bend and the angle to -90. This is gonna curve our pile. Let's add another simple deform and do it to the same, except we'll also change our axis to Z. Now our debris pile is curved like it's on a sphere, and that's what we're looking for here. So let's apply those modifiers.
Here we've got kind of an ugly tail hanging off the side, and that's because we used debris pile number 3, but if you were to use debris pile number 2 instead, you're not going to have that issue. But we do, so we're just going to grab those faces and delete them. It's messy, but I mean, we're literally creating a pile of garbage here, so who cares?
Good point. Come up to File, Export, Wavefront OBJ, and let's export it and head back into Element 3D.
We're actually going to retexture this rather than using the texture textures provided by RenderCrate, because in a later step, when we start adding our glowing energy, it's going to be better if our textures are mapped in some way other than using the UV.
In our actual final shot, we turned off the rubble to make our trash ball more see-through, but we can leave it on for now and make that call later if we want.
We don't want our anchor point to be in the center of this object. Rather, we want it to be as if the trash was sitting on top of a sphere. So the easiest way to do that is to actually add a sphere into our group folder and line it up. Change the scale and position until the trash sort of looks like it's on the sphere, and then delete the sphere because it was just for reference. And now, if we have the group itself selected, not the object, you can see that the debris is floating in the air, but the anchor point is in the center of our imaginary sphere, and that's what we want.
Hit OK.
Okay.
Before we do anything else, we want to create a group null because element is just much harder to control without one. Let's open our particle replicator settings and change the particle count to 20 or really whatever you want.
Open up the particle look and change the random rotation. If we give it a value of 1, that means totally random, and we're gonna have a garbage ball. Nice. This is the type of quality effects you guys want. We know it is.
Garbage.
And since our anchor points are in the middle, if we change the size random, it's gonna make it look like some of the particles are moving in and some are moving out, but they all stay in the same sphere orientation.
To make the different debris particles move around each other, we just need to animate the random rotation. Just set a keyframe at 1 and move forward to the end and add some more randomness, and that's how we got our cool final look.
Now, of course, we want to make this glow like it's been imbued with that magical chaos energy, so let's do it. So let's make a brand new comp, and we're going to name it Red Energy, and we want this to be a square.
Square?
Yes.
Good.
We add in a new solid, add a turbulent noise, change it to dynamic, and invert it so we get those nice organic creases. We bump up the contrast and animate the evolution using an expression. That's time times 200 in our case, but you can make it faster or slower if you want. We also animate the brightness so it starts out totally black and then gets brighter over time. We used a CC vignette to get rid of the edges. Obviously, we could have used a mask, but we didn't, so it's time to just get over it. We used a tint to map our white to a red color. We decided to add a little bit of pink or purple, but try not to go too crazy because this still needs to be red energy.
Back in the main comp, we grab that red energy comp and bring it in, but put it at the bottom and turn off the visibility. In the element effect, navigate to the custom layers and add that red energy as a texture.
In the scene setup, let's open up scene materials. Right click and remove the unused material so that we only see the ones that we actually need. We're going to start with the concrete material, and under illumination, we want to add that red energy as our texture. Then we scroll down to the illumination section of our texture, and we're going to turn up the intensity. Adding a Fresnel will make it so that it only appears more towards the edges, which might be what you want. For the other materials, we can do the same, except for the rubble, because we're going to get rid of that after all.
Next, we want to add some energy to the inside of the sphere. Let's decrease the particle count so we can see through it, and then let's head over to FootageCrate.com and find the Magic and Power section. We're going to go into this Sorcerer's Fireball section, but there's also a section here for Magical Flames. That might be worth taking a look at, but we're going to go with the Sorcerer's Fire for now.
There's a lot of choices in here, man. Hey, don't worry about the color. Just pick one that you like the motion of. We really like this looping wicked green and black one, so we're going to download that, and that's going to cause Crate Connect to open up with it ready for us to use. So we're just going to drag it in and immediately pre-compose it. That's Control-Shift-C, leave the attributes where they are, and open up the new comp.
We want this to loop, which we can easily do manually, but since we've got the Crate's looper script, which is free by the way, we're going to go ahead and just use that. We're going to animate the scale and animate it up from 0. We're also going to color it red and bring that into our main comp, and then we have to make sure to add it as a custom texture.
In the element scene setup, we're going to make a new group folder and put it on group 2 and then create a plane.
We will want to be deforming this plane, but if we look at the wireframe, that's not enough geometry to do so. Let's add some more segments. 100 is probably overkill, but that's what we're going with. We also want this to be a two-sided plane.
For the glowing textures, we like to start with a flat color preset as our starting point, And then we go into the diffuse and we select our second custom layer, which is that energy ball. Since the default color is blue, it's looking all blue, but if we change the default color to white, it's going to give us what our actual colors are, and that's what we want. It's looking a bit ugly though, and that's a mistake. Sorry, that's our bad. Element doesn't like our alpha channel, so let's go back into that wicked energy ball texture comp and add a black solid to the background. Now if we go back into the scene setup, it's looking much better, and to make it see-through, all we need to do is scroll all the way down to the bottom and change the blend mode to add or screen. I feel like they're the same.
No.
What's the difference? You don't know.
Back in After Effects, we create a group null for group 2. Let's turn off group 1 so we can see what we're doing. Our particle is kind of invisible, but that's just because we're looking at the edge of a 2D plane. If we turn it around, there it is. Let's crank up that particle size, open up deform, and enable the noise deform. We'll mess with the intensity and scale it until it looks decent. We basically just don't want it to be flat. Flat is boring.
Let's add some more particles. And I just made it look brighter because our particles are all exactly the same and they're in the exact same place. If we check randomize under the noise, we're going to start to see some variation, and we also want to turn up the random rotation as well, and now we have that actual 3D ball of energy.
If we turn group 1 back on, you'll be able to see that this energy is inside of the debris, but we want our energy to expand out and envelop the trash ball a bit more, so here's how we're going to do it. We set a keyframe for group 2 scatter and move forward and turn it up, and now our energy is on the outside of the ball as well, interacting very magically, I might say.
Or should I say magically? The base of our background is just a still of an apocalyptic city. That's actually a screenshot from a previous tutorial, so if you want to know how to make a full apocalyptic scene similar to this, exactly like this actually, just go watch that video and we'll go over it in great detail.
We wanted some more life in this as well, so we spiced it up with some ProductionCrate storm cloud overlays. We also added some looping fire. In addition, we added in our new space warship model from RenderCrate. This thing is really awesome. The lasers are from ProductionCrate as well. There's supposed to be a battle going on back here, so to get some movement on the ground, we added a crowd of zombies. We actually have a whole tutorial about doing this as well. The background is going to be out of focus, so the exact details don't really matter that much, but any kind of movement that suggests some kind of greater story going on is going to be great to make it feel less blah.
Less blah, the ultimate goal. For element, instead of doing depth of field using the camera, we like to apply it as an effect over top because it's faster and it gives us more control. Rather than using a normal depth map as an input for this, we like to use the world position pass. This gives us very good control over exactly where we want our focal point to be.
For this energy spreading across the ground, we used ProductionCrate Mist on ground 1. This is a CG effect. We do have some real ground mist effects that do look super good that we would have rather used, but they didn't work out quite as well for this perspective.
To make the mist match the contours of the rock, we used a mesh warp. I don't know why, I feel like this just seems a little bit hacky, but to be honest, anything that works is a good technique, so I don't care.
Yeah, we took some extra looping falling mist and we moved the anchor point to the very bottom. That's so we can attach it to the ground mist. Then as Adrian rises up into the air, we just animated the scale of them to match so that they're always going to look like they're coming off of his hands.
The flares on the hands are just optical flares, but we also added in a real lens flare from ProductionCrate, as well as some foreground embers.
And we did the final composite using Red Giant Super Comp. It's really easy to get a good look just using some of the simple presets. Then we used Magic Bull looks on top of that to get some epic color.
Fantastic.
And that's what we did. That's how we did it. That's what's up.
Yep, and we're not doing it again.
Nope, but you should all go do it and send us your results. That's it, creators. Make it awesome. Is anyone watching WandaVision? That's why we made this, but I'm not watching it yet.
I'm watching it, and the episodes are too short. They keep ending right in the middle, it feels like, and I'm sick of it.
Later, creators.